The Survivor Specialists are back, and today we are digging deeper into episode number 6 of Survivor 49, and I am joined by Bruce, still, for at least 4 more months, the only New Era player to play twice. It's not going to last much longer, Bruce, but you can still hold that title for at least a little bit longer. What's going on?
Not much, man. Listen, as I've always said, and I'll say it here again, is I played 1.1 times, and that's all good in my mind. And I don't mind the fact that that's gonna be over and done with. Over and done with. I don't have to deal with it anymore. And then maybe I'll be one of like 5, I think, that are coming back in the order. One of 6 coming back. Was it only?
It's 12, Bruce. There's
12. Wait.
Yeah.
Why that far off? Holy shit.
There's 12 New Era people. Come on, Bruce.
That's right. Oh my God. There's so freaking many.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. Oh, to get lost in the sauce right now. This is good. This is good stuff.
So we're gonna be talking about this episode that we watched last night. We'll be talking about 49 as a whole. I'll be reminding Bruce that there are in fact 12 New Era people throughout this episode playing on season 50, including 2 from this season, which I don't know. You follow All Winners Survivor on Instagram or no?
Briefly, yes.
They had that post today of Jeff doing an interview where he said, I guess, to the 49 players going into the merge, once they made the merge, if you like the cast for 50 is not solidified yet. If you play hard as anything, you have a shot to be on. Do you think at the time he was just kind of blowing smoke and it just ended up working out for Savannah and Rizga? What do you think?
You know what? No, I don't think it was blowing smoke at all. I think because I remember when we sat both times that I sat at Ponderosa getting ready to go out and play the game a couple days beforehand, Jeff had flown in his helicopter, in dramatic fashion. And then he comes in and he's talking to all of us and he says, this is a zero-sum game. Get out there and play hard. Play as hard as you possibly can because you may never get to do this again. Mm-hmm. So, Jeff saying that it kind of rings true to form that is something that he would say. And I took it literal. And some people do, some people don't. Some people are there just for the experience. And I hate the idea of people being there just for the experience because you got to be there to win $1 million and kick somebody's butt. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I heard that, I wasn't necessarily surprised. I think for me, it was more of, is that Jeff playing producer and just trying to light a fire? Because maybe he was sitting there saying that wasn't a great pre-merge. That wasn't exactly what we were looking for with a disaster tribe, with 2 pretty predictable boots after that. And, I know that obviously 2 people from this season are going to be on, 2 people have been replaced, but I wonder if he was sitting there saying to himself, there's like a 5% shot, or if he was saying there's a 95% shot. I always would love to know where Jeff's head actually was at in that exact moment, which we'll never know, but it's just something I'm curious about.
Jeff, when Jeff talks, everybody listens. You're out there, you live in a dream, you're playing a game that you love, and Jeff says something, and you're like, huh, what? Okay. So if he tells you to play hard at this juncture, he's definitely gonna carry a lot of weight with that. And maybe, like I said, maybe 95% of it was like, yeah, we're gonna get someone from here because we've exhausted a bunch of options, which I don't think we've exhausted enough. But we've exhausted a bunch of options. So, maybe we can get the diamond out of the rough with these here. And now that I'm thinking about, the last couple of seasons, how many people are going there that are going to be on 50? Yeah, there's definitely 12. So I think that him saying that did force some people to say, okay, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I agree. So first, I got to address this comment here. Mo says we may never see Blake again. Blake will be back next Thursday. I promise. We got a later start next week. The guy's been subbing out in LA, and he wasn't off to a hot start. So it was like, yeah, sure, we'll just schedule everything for 5:15. And now the 3 out of the last 4 weeks, he's actually been able to, work. And he's been happy about that, which has led to, though, me scheduling with other people at 5 p.m. or 5:15 p.m. thinking he's going to be around. We're doing later podcasts starting next week. We're just scheduling that way. So don't worry, Blake will be here. But yeah, I think it's 11 people from the last 5 seasons, Bruce. So,
I hope I can live up to Blake. Like I can live up to his big shoes. And if not, oh well.
So far, you've been way too positive. That's all I'll say. So far, you haven't come in and said a bunch of negative stuff to just tear people down. So no, you're not living up to Blake yet.
I will not tear down the players. I will tear down the characters, and I will tear down, the production. So we'll see. We'll get it.
Let's see. Let's start off with the hot topic then of last night. 3 tribes of 4. Fair game, not fair game. What'd you think of this?
Nah, I don't know. I don't want it. I don't want it. You brought it to 2. Keep it 2. Like, I know that they did it, I believe, in season 41. I think Abraham mentioned that in his season. But like, keep it the way it is. Like, keep it interesting. Like, we want tribals to be interesting, and the sitting around and talking this, that, and the other, that's all taking place in a short period of time. When you're getting ready to go to tribal council, like, it's because you kind of drag things out a little bit throughout the course of the day. You have time to do it. Then all of a sudden it's hyperactive, like, right before they start talking about, okay, we're gonna, get ready to shut everything down, no more talking. Like, maybe 10 minutes before that, they give you a little heads up, and then now you're scrambling. Mm-hmm. That's when all the real juice starts happening. The juice starts flowing, and then for them to drag it out that long, it didn't make any sense to me. But then there's only 4 people, and I want to see more people making more decisions. And that leads to early on more live tribals. The live tribals are fun for me. I enjoy watching that, but giving the subtitles, I want to hear what the whispers are. Okay, but do that, like, make that happen. Then you're like, oh snap, this was going to do it, and they said, and then all of a sudden they do what they say or whatever have you. So I don't know. It's just, no more 3. No more 3. Keep it 2.
And Will was making the argument last night that he just felt 3 of 4 was so unfair, and it works out poorly in most situations. I think last night's worked out well because you had a 3-versus-1 of the old red tribe taking on Steven, or you had a 3-versus-1 of the second yellow or blue tribe, whatever it was, taking on Jawan. And neither one of those scenarios worked out. But more often than not, one of those scenarios is going to work out. I'm a big, proponent of try new things, because they haven't tried enough new things in the new era. Too much of the new stuff they've tried, do or die, hourglass, that's just silly nonsense, goofy, go play a backyard game. It doesn't make any sense. This at least felt like we've seen this in Survivor. We've seen, in Gabon, we saw a swap when everybody thought they were going to merge. Mm-hmm. And that totally overthrew Marcus's game. Marcus felt like he was kind of dominating. I left this up to a poll over on YouTube earlier last night. It was before the episode started, but I know people kept voting. 62% said no, they are not a fan of 3 tribes of 4. And that was before and after the episode aired. People were kind of on the no side the entire time. Again, I'm happy that we got something new, but I hope they don't do this again.
Yeah. We're getting ready for the new era, whatever. I would like to see a 40% overhaul. 40% overhaul of the stuff that they're doing. Food, that's number 1. I want to see them give them better food. They've worked their ass. I'm sorry, I swear a lot. They worked their butts off to get to where they are. Okay, they work their butts off. They're starving, and they go to a reward and you get nothing. Like, it's almost nothing.
You would have lost your mind over the bananas too.
I'm a type 2 diabetic. That would have shot me through the roof. I would have been like, I'll eat it, but I need some crab legs to go with it. I need a protein. I can't just have straight sugar. I don't know. Like, in that moment, everybody's gracious with the bananas and the fruit. Everybody's like, yay. And then and who was it again? It was
Sophie.
Sophie like was just like, that's my snack. Like, what are we doing? And that's what I love about it. She was unbridled. She just, that's what she's used to having. She's used to having a snack. She wants more. And that's what I think a lot of people want. They want more than what they're getting. Grilled cheese last night. Come on, man.
Yeah. But the dessert looked good, but I agree with you. The grilled cheese is like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
So, wait. I didn't know you were type 2 diabetic. You were type 2 diabetic when you played Survivor both times?
I was, this is HIPAA. I don't care.
Am I allowed to ask this? I just did. We have people who listen who mention all the time that they are diabetic and they feel like they'll never be able to play Survivor because of it.
Type 1, you cannot. Am I frozen?
No, you're good.
Okay. Type 1 diabetic, you cannot, because you have to take shots. You have to maintain, like, you have to regulate your insulin, and go from there. But type 2, when I played, it was managed with diet. So, when I went out there, my medications that I take, they're like, nope, don't worry about it, because you need to sustain something, because medications counteract other things. So you want to be able to maintain. So the only thing that I took when I was out there was just the multivitamin that I got every day and the electrolyte packet that we get, that we put in the water. And that was it. So, and I was perfectly fine. being a type 2. So, but let's zoom back a little bit.
Okay.
People busted my agates in regards to like, oh, look at Bruce eating the cake. You're just taking small pieces. As much as I was not eating food, that would have wreaked havoc on me. Like it would have wreaked havoc on me. Not that day. It would have been the next day. It would have been like, oh, I'm dizzy seeing white stuff around outside my eyes. So it's just, I was conscious of that. And Jake, I remember that he had 2 hands full of cake and he just like, and then later on, he just like sitting there, he felt like crap. So, but yeah, that's my dissertation on.
I like that. No, that's good to know because, like I said, we do have people who listen who have said, "I'll never be able to play because of this, because of that." So if you are type 2 diabetic, you still have a shot. There's still a chance that you could play. We didn't know that. I'm surprised, Bruce, with how they tell background stories and they made MC being muscular and a badass into a sad story, which I do understand. You know, being a woman, it's probably different than being a man, but they made that into a sad story. I'm surprised they didn't try to get the fact that you were, type 2 diabetic out and make it like something that we were all supposed to cry about,
Remember what I said about Bashford production?
Yeah, here it comes.
Here it comes. Them some bitches, listen, I had sob story on top of sob story, which would have made it great, but one person had the outs for me, and then that was my arc. My arc was overbearing, blah, 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 bullshit. I sat there the entire time. I had a great time with my castmates. Yeah, I'm annoying, and they were annoying too, but there's no way for it to be elevated the way that it was when you're constantly being called annoying and you're constantly this and the other. It's like anything else. Like you hear it enough, other people hear it enough. Now they start grabbing that mentality, and it's like, okay, so now let's double down on it. So, so to production, step your game up a little bit. I love the way that they're treating Nate in regards to this, but I remember one very vivid thing. Nate yelled. He yelled during one of the challenges. And damn it, when he yelled, I'm like, yes! And then I'm thinking to myself, when Caleb was in the way and he was standing there when I was moving that stupid block, you know what he did? He did that on purpose. He told me himself he did it on purpose. And it is documented. He did it on purpose. And then all of a sudden it's like, Bruce, use different words. Shut it. I am not using different words. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're competing. And find me one competitive person that's going to sit there and say, oh, I'm sorry. Would you mind moving? I'm holding this 40-pound freaking block that's oblong. Yeah. So they're doing Nate right now, which is perfectly fine. I would love to see production not hone in and doing actually kind of what Sage did towards Shannon. Everybody's going to have a butt to head, but it's like you over exaggerating that is going to make it so that these people that love this show, they want to be a part of the community. And then all of a sudden now they're going to be getting blasted because of they watching an edited show. And now it's like, this is how this person really is. Yeah. Okay. Come hang out with me and you'll see that I'm not overbearing and I'm not this, that, and the other. Go hang out with Sage and you'll see that she's not this or that way either. So it's just editing and production, fix it.
Yeah.
Make it a little bit easier for people to enjoy the show as opposed to picking sides.
Yeah. I feel like the Sage versus Shannon was pretty rough. I mean, I know Shannon's been getting just roasted over on the internet now, which I've said before. I feel like a lot of people they're kind of taking the religious avenue and really going at her for that. I'm not religious at all. I could care less what your religion is, but I think it's crazy to start like going at people because they are religious. I don't think that that's right, especially when that's the main focus of why you're disliking somebody. So, I mean, let Shannon do her thing. If that's who Shannon is, that's who Shannon is. Like, let her do her thing. And I feel like the whole Shannon versus Sage thing. Yeah, I'm happy Sage won that battle last night. I am. I feel like more Shannon would have gotten old. I say this all the time. She could still be good TV, but there's good TV people that are better when you get 3, 4, 5 episodes of them. I don't know if I needed Say for 12 episodes last season. We got a good amount of Say last season. Yep. And that's kind of how I felt with Shannon. So I'm happy Sage won that, but I'm not going to just start going around saying, oh man, Shannon, I hope the rest of your life is a terrible hell. Like, I just don't get what's up with people sometimes, man.
Let me tell you, listen, I had people literally questioning every single aspect of my life. And I was nice. I was nice during production because I didn't want anybody mess with my money. Okay. Once I got my money, it was kind of what I had a ticker in my brain. Like, okay, T-4 days, T-2 hours. Okay. Say a word. And I went in on people. I didn't care. The whole thing with the religion, this is my take on it with Shannon. I honestly don't think she said it. She had conversation. She prayed on things and said, that's fine. That's her. Nobody in this game is going to sit there and say to you, "Yo, Shannon, like I'm a little uncomfortable with you,
Yeah.
you know, with your religious talk this and that," because you're playing to win $1 million. So what do? You make faces behind her back, you roll your eyes, you do all this other stuff because that's how you really feel. You want to get it up, but you can't, because if you say that, you're 4 other people are going to be like, "Yo, that person's a jerk. Yo, Shannon, you should get that person out because he's, you know, talking behind your back." Notice nobody said anything according to the edit. Nobody came back to Shannon and said, "Hey, you know, Sage is making faces, doing all this other stuff, wants to get you out because this, that, and the other. You're annoying, blah, blah, blah." But we got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the edit dumped down our throat in regards to how religious she is. Well, you know what? We're uncomfortable as viewers. Oh, why does it have to go to that? This is supposed to be Survivor, this, that, and the other. You know what? You go out and play Survivor, and you like Pokemon?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't understand Pokemon, so I can roast you all I want to, but you love Pokemon. But somebody's going to be like, "Are you 3 years old? How come you're still playing Pokemon? What's up?" Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's all these things. Like, people have their own things. Just sit there, shut up, enjoy the edited show, and keep your thumbs to yourself.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. Will and I were chatting a little bit last night, and it's one of our biggest complaints, and we talk about it all the time with the casting of the new era. It does feel like there's a lot of just samey type personalities, right? It's a lot of there's a lot of nerds. It's a lot of, we're gonna bond over Marvel, we're gonna bond over Pokemon, we're gonna bond over so much stuff, and it doesn't feel like you're getting, you know, I miss the days, and I always go back to this because it's just the easiest example, but I miss when you had the fighter pilot in Terry, the woman off the couch in Sari, and the chain smoker who's losing his mind in Shane, and then the weird hippy dippy guy in Aris. Those are 4 very distinct personalities, very different people who are playing this game together and have to figure it out. And then you have Courtney and Bruce, who have kind of the spiritual thing that you would think would get along. And instead, Courtney and Bruce are butting heads because Courtney can't respect Bruce's space and Bruce can't stand Courtney's way of using the spiritual. And I feel like now we get so used to, as a Survivor audience, watching everybody get along, that when we start to watch them not get along, we also feel that we have to pick sides. We go at people with our thumbs, like you said, and then that leads to production saying, well, maybe we don't need those types of conflicting personalities. Maybe we don't need this. No, Shannon versus Sage should be on every season of Survivor. We need people who are going at it and who are frustrated with each other. I don't want to watch 18 people who are all going to be best friends. Honestly, and I know that Kelly just had her wedding and stuff like that, I don't want to watch people play the game and then say, "I'm going to invite all 17 people from my cast to my wedding." I don't want that. I want there to be some animosity when you get off that island. And I think that Shannon and Sage was almost an accidental version of that. I don't think they meant for that to happen, but just going back to the grand scheme of things, let's not pretend that we don't want this conflict. We want the conflict, but if you keep on hammering people with "you suck, I hope you die," that's going to lead to less conflict because people are thinking about that now when they play the game.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, they don't want to get roasted. Like, that was, you know, "Oh, internet, don't destroy me for this." Da, 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 da. And I remember there was something that, you know, Jeff was asked the question, like when we had the 2 people quit in our season. You know, why didn't you go in and, you know, why didn't you roast them like you used to roast people back in the day? And Jeff was like, "The internet's going to do that. I don't have to do it anymore." Because when he was doing it before, there was no, you know, the internet was there, but you had to be a quadrillionaire to have the internet.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all this stuff wasn't there. So Jeff had to be that, you know, that guiding light towards for people to say, okay, this is the frustration that people are going to be feeling, you know, by the water cooler the next day because, you know, they're not on their phones. But there's no way that this was the only kerfuffle, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There are others. You're giving us one. You're just giving us one, and it's like you're taking the black better words, holier than thou, you know, the Shannon side of it, and you're taking the other side that's saying, "Oh my God, I can't stand it," you know. So you got the angel and the devil. This just saying it. I'm not saying that they are, but you got the angel and the devil going back and forth, and it's TV gold for them. But it's almost like they're putting so much into it and giving us so much of it that it's becoming a little repulsive. You know, I'm like, I don't want to hear this. I don't want this thrown down my throat. And there are other aspects of the game that I'm seeing right now that, yes, it's Pete and repeat. You know, I can look at every single person on these tribes and say, okay, this was this person on season 45. This was this person on season 45. And it's like copy paste.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, yeah, find that woman that literally just like, you know what? I got kids and just this is a recard. And have her get up off the couch and let her be on the show. And you have what is it? The super fans. It's all super fans. Everybody's a super fan. There are people that are out there that are not super fans that want to apply for Survivor, and they're looking at it and they're like, I can't be out there with super fans because they know so much more and it's intimidating to them. But it's just apply. Just apply. Be on the show. Change the way the trajectory as to where it's going right now and make it. I don't want too much old school, but I would like somewhere in the middle. You know?
I agree with that. I mean, I think that, David and Say, neither one of them were huge fans last season, and they're cute. They were great personalities. They were great characters on my TV, as David and Say. And then another fight that we're getting, another butting of heads is Jawan and Savannah. And so this one's one that's definitely been permeating throughout the entire season. This one I'm a little bit more okay with, because it's not kind of getting to this it's not getting to that personal level that it felt like maybe Shannon and Sages was getting to. And also I do feel like I connect more with Savannah and Jawan of what would be annoying me, what kind of help, oops, I made a mistake. I didn't mean for that to happen. I feel like this storyline is more relatable. And I do feel like people are latching on to Savannah because they're assuming Savannah is going to win this because Savannah is ultimately going to be on 50. Not win the season, but just win this battle between her and Jawan. Mm-hmm. I think if we didn't know the 50 information, I think there'd be more people who are on Jawan's side in all of this. Because as annoying as it is that he filled up the bag with sticks and that he did the stuff with the water, the man is playing for Uli. And even last night when he made the decision that he made, he said, well, I'm worried that the rest of Uli is going to be frustrated because we're going to get rid of Shannon here. And Sage said, well, she's going to vote for you, so it doesn't matter. And so he's thinking about these things, but then Savannah is saying he's making mistakes. He's annoying me. I don't like him. I want him to be the first one out. But then what did we hear from Steven last night? I really like Jawan. He's a really nice guy. I would like to work with him. And Jawan says, I'd really like to work with Steven. It's a bummer we're on different tribes to start. This one's more complicated. And I think that's the more interesting version of these kinds of fights we want to see.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because again, Savannah's not going to be like yelling at Jawan because the water bottle is said. She's not going to be yelling at it. This is her confessional. You go to your confessional and you complain as much as humanly possible, and you get upset. And then maybe you kind of someone in your tribe says something, you kind of like do like a little whatever. You're not really gonna get it out that you're so frustrated. But we heard that she's very frustrated about it. We didn't hear from Jawan. We kind of heard from Jawan like, oh, my bad, like, oh, and then but it happened again with the water bottle. So now it's like, okay, so what's the ulterior motive? Are you being a little bit deliberate in regards to this, or are you literally just not looking at the water bottle that does not have your initials on it on a tag or whatever, and just kind of flaking out? Like, which one is it? Be honest and tell everybody what it is. Did you hit your head and you don't remember? Your short-term memory is gone. Like, tell us what it is. So it's gonna come to a head. No pun intended. It's gonna come to a head, but it's one of those things. I think I honestly would like to see Jawan win.
I would too.
I want to see him win, because as much as it's annoying that what he's doing, it's a little thing. It's not a big thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not hiding a sneaker. It's not burying your stuff. It's not burning your hat in fire. It's none of that. It's just if he says, "Oops, my bad, your mistake," that'll hold a little bit of water. But it's more on the other person that can't accept the my bad.
I also think what part of this is too is I just think maybe Jawan and Savannah aren't getting along anyway. And then Jawan's doing this to Savannah. So Savannah's going, I already don't like you. Stop doing this. Right. It's, if your best friend makes the mistake, you laugh about it and you say whatever. And then somebody who you're just stuck being in the same room with makes that mistake. You say, all right, that's enough of that, man. Now you're starting to aggravate me. And I think even though I'm rooting for Jawan, I am enjoying Savannah. I'm enjoying her takes. I'm enjoying the bitterness that we're getting from a lot of her confessionals. I'm enjoying the negativity. And it's not negativity for the sake of, I just want to be a louder, larger than life personality. I feel like Savannah has actually been a very calm, middle character. She's just saying things we're not used to hearing in the new era. And she's willing to be a little mean to her castmates. I think with the understanding that when this game is over, if they hear her confessionals, as long as she's not saying stuff that's really, really digging into their personality or whatever, they're probably going to get over it because they've all lived this together. They're big enough fans. If they can't get over it, it's probably not somebody Savannah's going to be hanging out with anyway. And I think that's where some people just get a little too worried about making everybody happy. Savannah's not concerned about that when she's doing her confessionals at all.
Yeah. And, for the people that are going to, apply for Survivor and go on Survivor, it's like, I will give you my notion in regards to this. I went out there thinking that I'm going to be getting myself a whole new family, a whole new group of people that I'm going to be able to reach out to at any point in time and say hello. And over the course of time, it's been a couple of years now, there are some people that I can call right now that I would want to call right now and they'll answer the phone. There are others that I'm just like, there are others that give me pause. Like, are they going to answer the phone because they see me and go, ugh? Or then there are others that I'm like, I am not calling that person. If they're falling down a flight of stairs, I'm not going to try to grab onto them so they don't fall down the stairs. I don't give a damn. Like, do what you got to do. So this makeup starts happening from day 2, day 3, and who it is in your tribe that you're going to be with. And then when you make the merge, provided you make the merge, you then start figuring out who it is you're going to be having conversations with on a regular basis outside of the game, because you start talking about that stuff and you realize really quick when someone's blowing smoke and when someone's not blowing smoke. So when someone's like, yo, this is for real, this is straight up. When we get out of here, you and I are going to hang out together, we're going to do our thing, we'll talk all the time, blah, blah, like, I appreciate you. And then there are others that are like, oh my God, this is going to be so great, like when we leave here and it's like blah blah blah, and just, there's a smoke. Like, no, just bye.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's something that hopefully people start to get in this new era as we move forward, and people will start to be willing to be a little bit mean to each other. Cause I think about this all the time. I mean, I was just watching Philippines, cause we got Every Season Matters that we're doing for our Patreon with Philippines. Abby Maria and RC. What glorious arguments those two women have. And really, it's so one-sided. RC's not really having arguments. RC's just trying to have conversations, and Abby just yells at her. Those two, I can't imagine, have seen each other in person more than twice since the season ended. But good. That's okay. That's fine. RC still got asked back and then ultimately just got cut because her dad was not healthy enough to play. And Abby Maria did play again. So it's okay. And it's okay to not be friends with everybody. I think now a lot of people, too, they want to win, and then we'll get into other stuff, but they want to win the internet. They want to win. They want to win all of it, right? You want to be
how can I monetize this? How can I be the lovable person and then get, try to get as much money out of it as you possibly can? There's a niche for everybody. There's a niche for everybody. If there's 5 million people watching this beautiful, beautiful show, if you can get 0.1% of 1% to grab onto and be on every thing that you do, and only be on the show one time, and that's all you ever do. You don't go on to multiple shows to get multiple, different, genres of people to follow you. Then you're doing something right. Like you're all right. You're gonna have that because somebody's gonna relate to you. But if you go out there, trying to be larger than life, and I know we'll get to this at some point in time. You're trying to do that. I think personally, like you're gonna grab a couple of people and then you're gonna be turned off by others, and but then production's gonna use the snot out of you. They're going to use you like just to get a point across for the winner of the game, or a cautionary tale going forward for someone.
Yeah, no, I totally hear what you're saying there. Let's do this comment real quick. Speaking of getting the 1% of the 1/10 of the 1% or whatever, Ollie, oh my gosh, is that Bruce from Survivor 44, Survivor 45, and Survivor Now podcast?
Ollie, don't you mess with me.
Is it bedtime for Ollie? Shouldn't he be asleep right now?
He should, yeah. Well, he's pretty close, but he stays up all hours. Like it's just he's got. I don't know. He probably doesn't have to go to work till 11 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, I did that pre-show, and he was, oh yeah, I'm in the UK. I was like, what are you doing right now?
It's 6 hours. 6 hours ahead. Yeah, it's midnight over there. That's not bad. It's easy.
Yeah. All right. So what I want to talk about here, we talked kind of how we feel about the 3 tribes of 4 and all of that. This season, though, it looks like we're not going to get mergatory. It looks like we're just going to get a normal merge at 11. Shannon misses the merge. Everybody else is going to make the merge, make the jury, make the final three, whatever it's going to be. You're now in the end game. Are you at least? Are you? I don't want to be leading with this, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to ask it. Are you happier with this version, or are you happier with what we've seen for the other 8 seasons of the new era, where somebody's getting left off despite making the merge, and then who knows what actually making the merge means?
I love this version. I love enough of the other stuff. The other stuff pisses me off, and the reason we've all, again, I'll go right back to it. Months of going through the process. You get out there, you still know that there are alternates that are there, and if you screw up, you're going. All right. You get on that boat and you finally do your promo shots and you make it to the beach and Jeff, you're welcome to season 45 of Survivor. We're all happy as hell. Okay. We're fighting to get to the merge. That's first and foremost, fighting to get to the merge. And then from there, then is another game. Everybody's fought hard in their own little aspect. There are people that would go to, like Caleb, decimated. Lulu was decimated. And then he makes the merge. He should be able to have that meal, a good meal, none of that BS, a good meal, because that is the way that is tradition. I love tradition. We've always done it that way. New era, now we're messing it up. Only half make it, blah, blah, blah. And then when you get your merge buff with the other half, you don't get something to eat. Like, come on, man, what's your reward? Oh, you made the merge, that's your reward. No, it's not. Like, it's a part of it, like sitting around the Jesus table, Everybody's sitting there, and you got people right and left. Pass me this, pass me that. Like, everybody wants to be a part of that. Everyone does. But when you now sit there and say, I'm going to cut it, and then now, oh, wait a minute, this is horrible. Like, this doesn't make any sense. So now, in this new era, beat them, next day, boom, let's go. Back to reality, and somebody's going home. Who's going to be the first member of the jury? So feed the people, give them what they need, get them all together. I love this part of it. I don't like the breakup and half go here, half go there.
Well, because they overcomplicated it. They overthought things, and it's I always say, like, when you look at the English language, how it's evolved over the last 20 years, there's so many no-go words now, or now we've changed the meaning of words and other things and this, that, whatever. And it's like, so much of it is politically driven, but it's still, there's certain things that you can and cannot say that you could say 20 years ago, and it's just totally changed its meaning. Yep. Survivor's kind of done that too in a much smaller way, but merge doesn't mean anything anymore. Jeff needed a new word to call it, because it was mergatory. I think you'd merge to 12 and then they'd split up to 2 tribes of 6. You say, well, we didn't merge. We kind of just had a tribe swap. And so I like that we're just merging. Just go back to simple. What is the easiest thing for the audience to understand? The easiest thing, the thing that Survivor fans want, is pre-merge, post-merge. Because most Survivor fans aren't going to care and aren't going to remember 3 days later that it was a challenge and one person got left off and one person made it. Nobody cares that, who was it? Say missed the merge and in her way. Nobody cares that Sifu missed it the way he missed it. Most Survivor fans have forgotten that those are the people who just missed making the merge or just missed making the jury. So it might mean something to Sifu. It might mean something to Say. It might make them hungry to play again. It does not matter to fans, though. Nobody cares. So go to the simplest version. If you make the merge, maybe one person misses the jury. We saw that as recently as season 35. I know we've seen that in other seasons too, but in a normal merge, we saw this recently as season 35. Just have it be as simple and basic as it can be, because you've already overcomplicated so many other things. I'm happy that we're going back to a normal merge. I'm happy that we're at final 11. I didn't have to hear Jeff say mergatory. They didn't fight it out to make the merge, whatever it is. Jeff would always say, earn the merge. You already earned the merge by surviving 7 votes or winning 7 immunity challenges. So congratulations, you earned it. You're there. I don't get why we had to earn it now with a challenge as well. I think that's silly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It has to be simple. Keep it simple, stupid. That's the only thing that came to my mind in thinking about this. Like, let's make sure that everyone gets rewarded for the hard work that they put in to get to where they are. And hard work, just, you could be, the physically weakest person and help out mentally with the puzzles. And that is still working hard, even though we equate working hard with moving stuff. No, the mental part of it is just as freaking hard. So let's now reward everyone. So I'm not a firm proponent and everybody gets a participation trophy. Heck no. But this is something different. This is completely something different.
And again, just to prove that I can't remember it, on 45, did you get the reward feast or the merge feast or no?
I did.
You didn't?
I did. Yes. No, I did.
You did? Oh, okay.
I did. It was so good. They had some vegetarian. I don't know where the recipe came from, but I would love it. They had a vegetarian lasagna. And I remember saying that I had it, and J. Maya lost her mind. She's like, "No, that was mine." I'm like, "I'm sorry." It's so good though. But yeah, no, it's one of those, like, they everybody should be fat and happy, and if they they have wine and beer and a little tipsy and go back to back to the camp, and everybody chits and chats, and well, this one's an idiot, that one's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me, burping, and then whatever. So
yeah. All right. So we have this final 11. I'm going to be doing predictions and power rankings on Sunday with Cassidy. So we're not going to get into who's going to win, who's going to go here, whatever. I mean, I'll probably ask you who you think is going to win, but I just want to see where your opinion is, where your mind is at on each of these people as we enter merge phase. Who's a contender? Who has no shot? Who's got to do a lot of work to get their legs underneath them? And I can ask person by person, but it seems like you have a person on your mind already, because you were like moving around in your chair, and it seemed like taking a deep breath, getting ready to say who you felt was either in a good spot or a bad one. So you go.
I think MC's in a good spot. I really do. I really, really like this young woman. She has the right conversations, and it's one of those things that she sits there and she talks to people, and they're looking at her. When she's talking, she's looking at them. I picked up on those little things there. So I think that she's going to be just fine. I'd love to see her go very, very deep in this game. Will she make it past 5? I think she might, to get to that, fire making challenge, which, if they change that up, I'm not mad at them either. Yeah. But I would love to see her get that far. The person that there are 2 people that I'm kind of concerned about, and whatever, it is what it is. Rizzo, I've met him, great kid, and I say kid, and it's a term of endearment. If anybody gets offended by it, please send me a message. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I say it as a term of endearment. So Rizzo, he's got that personality. He can tell stories. He says certain things. Him going out and having the fins on his feet and blah 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 blah. Someone like me, take the fins to the water, sit down in the water, put them on your feet, and then go for a swim. That's just it. He makes for good TV, and I appreciate him. But Christina, I'm a little worried about her. Because I really do think that, unfortunately, her usefulness is going to be up. She's got that rah-rah. She has that. She'll talk it up to anybody, but sometimes you just don't want to hear it. But I hope she does well. She's made it this far, which is great. But had they lost, she probably would have been the one to be voted out because of her string tying ability.
Yeah.
There was a comment that was made, tie it up like you tie your daughter's hair. I know that there were probably 90% of people say, what the hell? What, tie up her hair? What does she mean by that? They have so many in-depth conversations throughout the course of a day that we try as hard as humanly possible not to repeat ourselves. So we come up with other things that remind us of something, and we start talking about it. So more than likely, she's talking about her daughter and how she does her daughter's hair, and she probably braided someone's hair, and whatever. So that comment came out. That just goes to show that they're having these awesome conversations. But if she would have failed on that, if they would have lost, I think she would have been the one to go home. So, not to say she's low on a totem pole, because I think she's like mid. Mm-hmm. But I think she's the one that I fear for the most in regards to the next couple of weeks.
It's funny because on that tribe, it seemed like Nate was probably doomed if they lost. But then with Christina saying to Sophie, "We're going to make you the alternative option," Sophie's now saying, "That's the second time you said that to me. I'm not doing this."
Correct.
I feel like we don't know Sophie Segretti at all. I think I passed her 7 times on the street the other day. I don't know who she is. The thing is, though, what we have gotten from her is, I'm not sticking with the Hina people. I'm not doing this. They don't have my back, so I don't have theirs. And I think that's going to be very important to this post-merge, because I was saying, I think Sage set the tone for the game last night without even maybe realizing she was, because now Uli can't just be Uli strong. Sage has already said, I was willing to get rid of Shannon. Jawan said I was ready to get rid of Shannon. Savannah and Rizzo are going to be hearing this story, from other people. So it's, what are they going to trust? What are they not going to trust? But I think that this is going to lead to a little bit more chaos in this post-merge, a little bit more willingness for people who aren't on the same starting tribes to start playing against each other. And I think Sophie, if you follow the breadcrumbs, and there's not many, but if you follow the breadcrumbs, it is all, I want Christina out, or I want somebody else out because they keep throwing me under the bus and I'm tired of being thrown under the bus. And right now you have a Savannah, a Rizzo, a Nate, a Sophie Bellardi, who might be feeling like, I don't know if we can trust Jawan and Sage anymore. Who should we go get? Well, Alex is giving me weird vibes, but Sophie Segretti seems like she's ready to play with us. So let's play with her. And I look, she ain't winning because we haven't heard from her at all. But that's a player who could end up being your final 5, final 6, and actually being very integral to the final portion of this story, I think.
I agree. I totally agree. And it's to go back to what you said, there was the name drop. And then once the confessional came, you dropped my name before. Yeah. That was done early. Now, mind you, what day is this? This is
I think it was 11 or 12.
11, 12. So a lot has happened in a couple of days. Okay. You don't, from day one, somebody says something, you're not going to forget it because it's all you're focusing on is what you have around you. It's like our grandparents. Our grandparents knew everything that was going on because they didn't have electronics. They didn't have, nothing but the paper, the news, and the guys that they talked to, the women that they talked to at work. That was it. Okay. So the same thing's happening here. You have no other distractions aside from what you currently are dealing with, and you remember everything that someone says. So that right there, again, goes to my point of Christina. That's going to be, I don't want to say a nail in the coffin, but at least the starting of the hammer hitting the nail to get her to, be on the jury.
I agree with you. And Sophie had the line of, I want to be Alex's new Sophie. Like this stuff, if you're giving a woman this little screen time, the stuff you are giving is stuff we should be paying attention to. That's the way I look at it. Because it's not, again, going back to Philippines, when Carter spoke in that season, it was normally, we ate food today. It was nice. And you're like, okay, we haven't heard from you, Carter, and that wasn't important. They just want us to remember that you were here because you're going to go far enough. But what Sophie is saying isn't narrating a situation. Sophie is giving insight into what is taking place. And so, her and MC is the one who came to Sophie and said, they're looking at you. And Sophie said, I'm pissed about that. Now, for the second time, Sophie's hearing that. MC, she's got Steven. She's feeling pretty good with Steven. She's at least had the conversations with Sophie, Rizzo, and Savannah. Now, Sophie Segretti comes in and says, Alex, I want to be with you. MC, let's get back together. All of a sudden, again, this is starting to be a very, very actual merge tribe. It's a melting pot here of 3 tribes. And I do think that there is some merit, even though I think they did the second tribe swap too late, to 2 tribe swaps creating a little bit more of this chaos. Because even though you still have people who didn't go to tribal, MC and Nate have both played with 8 of the other 10 people out there right now. They have been, and they haven't gone to tribal council with all of them, but they have sat down on a beach and had conversations with 8 of the other 10 people who are in the game. I don't know if we looked at New Era Survivor, if there's ever been a player as well connected as those 2 going into a merge, because normally it's 1 swap. You end up with a couple people you already knew. It's normally 3 to 3, but there was something to this. And I do think that that's going to be important to why the relationships that develop as we go through the post-merge.
Those relationships they started a long time ago. They started a very long time ago. They started in Ponderosa. Actually, you know what? They started in LA. When you come downstairs and you're all waiting to go on the bus and you're looking at each other and you start sizing each other up a little bit and making eye contact and kind of doing the whole funny face stuff, and you're sitting in the airport and you can't talk, but you're within sight of each other. Okay. And you're in Ponderosa, and now you're sitting here and you're kind of making more faces, you're more animated, this, that, and the other, and you're chomping at the bit to get started. And then you start hearing people's voices when they're talking to the staff. They're talking to the people, you're getting something to eat. Yes, thank you very much. And they turn and you stand there like, oh, that's what they sound like. Okay. So even the tone of someone's voice, you might not like that. So now the tone of someone's voice that you don't like, now you're on that tribe, like, man, all right. And you make it through. But now you, through a tribe swap, man, I've been wanting to see you the entire time. This, that, and the other. Like, how you doing? Everything. And then now you can tell your stories to these people, and then they will gravitate more towards your stories. So now, like you said, when they get that melting pot of people together, these are people that are probably chomping at the bit to talk to each other, chomping at the bit to work with each other, and they can see and get a better idea of what these people have done in their tribes to get to where they are right now, whether it be true, false, indifferent, whatever. Like, you're going to gravitate to their story. You're going to be like, all right, cool. And then if one piece of it checks out with somebody else, then you're good to go. Mm-hmm. So I'm liking the idea of it. I'm liking the idea that there's going to be conflict. There needs to be conflict. The game is based upon you're on a plane goes down, you're on a deserted island, like the show Lost. That's what it's designed to be like. You're starting over a new little community, and once you do that, you're going to be people you like, people you don't like. And the don't like is fun.
Yeah,
you know, you're not supposed to kumbaya. Enough of that stuff. There were a couple of times, like, people were like, this is going to be great. We need to do all this. It's going to be so much fun. And I have so much, I can trust them so much. You can't trust anybody. Come on, man. Get over that stuff.
Well, it makes me laugh because I was thinking about at the beginning of this year, Mitch had put out an Instagram story, Mitch from 48. Mm-hmm. He had put out an Instagram story where he had gotten a bunch of people from 48 to say, what's your advice to the 49 cast on premiere night or something like that. And he'd gotten a bunch of people from his cast, and Joe Hunter had a line of, there's going to be some people you never talk to again. Forget it. That's just the way it goes. And it was something where it was kind of biting. And I said, wait, Joe, where the hell was that on the season? And I'm not saying that Joe, I mean, look, Joe's coming back to play again. So we all know Joe's in good shape. Joe's the star of that season. Joe and Eva had their moment. But a lot of people are sitting there going, wait, I want to know who Joe's talking about. I want to know who Joe's pissed at now that the game's over. Joe in the game was playing a game that was very, I'm getting along with everybody. That was also because that cast was that kind of cast. That doesn't mean Joe can butt heads with people. Just because he's Captain America doesn't mean that he can't butt heads with people. Yeah. And I think that's what was kind of missed there. But when the entire tribe, when all the people are friendly with each other, there's nobody's going to butt heads on the island. So now the game ends and Joe says that. And I say, wait, there's drama between some of the 48 people. Well, that would have been nice to know when they were actually playing on the show, but that's not coming out. And I said it with this season too. When they did the tribe swap, Will was saying they dropped the ball on the tribe swap big time because they should have done, where it was 3 from one tribe, 3 from the other. And then Sophie and Alex got split. So it was more even. But what's crazy is this is the way they cast the show now. You had 4 people from one tribe and 2 from the other, and then Alex, right? And then 4 from one, 2 from the other, and Sophie. The 4 who were together got along so well because their tribe got along so well that they really never considered voting each other out. And then over on the other tribe, the 4 who got along together, they all still got along. So you had 2 tribes where there was very little conflict. And then on the tribe that was the disaster tribe, there was very little conflict. Everybody was friends, right? Nicole gets voted out. She was blindsided. Annie feels like she's getting along with everybody, and that doesn't work. Jeremiah was getting along with people. There just wasn't enough time left. So all of a sudden you have 18 people where you say, wait, they all really get along. So when you start to hear Savannah going at Jawan, when you start to hear Shannon and Sage, my ears perk up because I say, good. This is what Survivor needs to be. This is the drama we need. I don't care if production thinks 48 was a great season. 48 sucks. 48 is a brutal season of Survivor. And I like a lot of the people from 48, right? I've met Kyle. I've met Joe. I've met Eva. I've met Mitch. I like these people. At the end of the day, though, once Say goes home, there's very little drama on that season, and that's not a good thing. Yeah. So I want drama.
That's the thing. I will be honest, there was drama. There was drama. Throughout every season there is drama. It's just what they're giving us to see. I will very poignantly, I go back to the conversation I had with Eva. She was in Providence. Like, I got to meet her before the show. We had to say that I didn't want to know any spoilers. I never want to know a spoiler ever. But I did say to her, I said, so some unsolicited advice, like your season has not aired yet. So everybody's going to sit there and everybody's going to be kumbaya to each other. to the first episode when someone rolls their eyes about you and they're like, oh, I can't stand this girl. That's when it really starts. That's when you really start getting the real true personality of a good portion of the people. Because if there's 18 people, 2 of them are not showing up for anything. Don't want nothing to do with anybody because they got rubbed the wrong way. They got voted out early. They got blindsided by someone that they consider to be a really good friend of theirs on a show. Okay. That's the given. And then you got 16 people left and the season starts going at 13 episodes. Okay. That is one butt-hurt person every single week. So now, if you didn't do anything to make that person frustrated with you, then you potentially have someone you can talk to on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. Okay. Go into this, like Joe had said, F them all. Okay. You got to work with people. You're not there to make friends because you can't choose your family, right? I already said at the beginning of this, you have a family. This is a Survivor family. I didn't choose these people. They put me in front of them. But I chose who my friends are going to be. And I have a good number of them in my role. I almost said Rolodex. That's old.
You did. Will said Rolodex a couple of weeks ago, and I made him explain what a Rolodex was.
Oh man, you've already explained it. I don't have to go into it, but is paper.
Yeah, exactly. But Bruce actually almost reached for it. I'm not convinced you don't have one on your desk right there. That's all.
I actually was gonna grab my mouse and be like,
okay. Yeah.
But no, it's and you know, people say it, you know, they have them on the show like, I'm not here to make friends. Yeah. And then 3 weeks later, hey, I hated these people to keep my. It's because of your sanity. You go nuts. You can't just walk around not talking to anybody that said like you can't pull an Aussie, you know, and just kind of float off and do your own thing. Like you can't do that. Like it's just 99% of the people can't do that because you're gonna need someone to talk to. You need human interaction. Yeah. So just keep that in mind.
People. Well, and think about it this way too, you know, and still want to ask about some more of these people, but I just want to bring this up because it makes me think of it. Star last season, when she started watching the edit, she was going off on X. And it was frustrating me. And Star's going to be on the podcast on Tuesday with Tegwith. So, you know, I say this lovingly. But she was frustrating me because I'm saying, you're kind of spoiling the season right now. You're kind of spoiling some stuff. Stop doing that. But Star was so mad because she didn't realize what was actually going on behind her back. Now, Star is the type of person who I think pretty much get along with anybody, right? It seems like she's got along really well with most of her cast. You have to know, though, going out there, that you can be the nicest person in the world. You can be as prim and proper as necessary to stay as clean as possible for the internet, for your family, for your job, whatever. You're going on a show with a chance to win $1 million. You're going to get some sort of prize money no matter what, right? You're going to get something no matter what place you finish. You have to know that every single person on that island is going to say something really mean about you. It's going to happen at one point or another because that's just human nature, right? I can hang out with my best friend. My best friend says something stupid or pisses me off. Guess what? The conversation the next day with another friend is, man, I don't know what the hell his problem was last night. I don't get it. And you know what? That's something I would say to my friend to their face anyway, but I got to let myself cool down first. When it's on TV, you're not lifelong friends with these people. These aren't your college friends, your high school friends, your friends you grew up with, your friends that you play kickball with and go drinking with every week. These are literally people that you were forced to be on an island with. I hope that more people come in 51, 52, 53 with the approach that Savannah has, with the approach that even Rizzo has. Because I know Rizzo's coming across as more of a positive personality, but Rizzo's definitely not necessarily, it doesn't seem like afraid to still just be Rizzo at all times. You got to just go with what makes the most sense for you. Don't be overly concerned with how it's going to look on TV or who's going to be mad at you after. Some people are just soft as hell. Yeah. You know, I'll say that not lovingly. Some people are just soft. I've been doing this podcast for so long and I never get personal with people. I'm not going to get personal. I'm not going to attack you as a human being. I'll attack you as a Survivor player. I'll say that your move sucked. I'll say it doesn't make sense, but I'm not going to say, Bruce, you're a bad guy because you did this, that, whatever. And there's still some people who've played this game who think I'm a total asshole. What can you do? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And you know, I had so Ollie was in earlier. Ollie ripped me to pieces, not me personally, the edited version of Bruce. But I know that when I got home, excuse me, my friends were watching this with me, and I'd have, I'd go to watch parties, whatever have you, and then I'd have people to my house. I have a ranch style house. Okay. I packed in a bunch of people in my living room and we watched Survivor. And there are so many of my friends who are just like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Like, what? Like, what? Didn't even do anything. Because this is what the edit is giving.
Mm-hmm.
And for the internet thumb heroes, this has got to be real. It's got to be law. Like, so again, people that are getting ready to go out there and play Survivor, or people that want to go out and play Survivor, play this game because you want to live this dream of yours, okay, and B, you want to make money. That's it. Making friends, that'll come. You'll find a couple people. There's 18. If you get 2 out of 18, then you're good to go. If you don't get any, there's definitely something wrong there.
Yeah.
But if you get at least 2 out of 2 would be 17, but 2 out of 17, like that's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
perfectly fine.
You could be in the lineup in the World Series hitting 2 for 17. That's pretty good. So we mentioned MC. We talked about a couple other people. Let's talk about the main alliance here going into the merge now.
Okay.
Rizzo, Savannah, Nate. Sophie Bolarity feels like she's very much in that.
Yeah.
There's 11 people though. Jawan just went against them, so they might not be happy here. We don't know where Alex is going to fall. How are you seeing this shake out? Who are you seeing kind of take power in this post-merge?
I'm going to go backwards here.
Okay.
Sophie, I love the idea that she's still there. She's making her way through. Okay. She could have been gone a long time ago. Even some of the comments that she was making, it almost seemed like she was going to put up the white flag and run away. I hope she does not. She got a meal in her, so she's revitalized and ready to go.
Even if it was just grilled cheese.
It could have been that grilled cheese. It's when you're out there, it's phenomenal. Do you know you can get more from production? Yeah, you do. But I'll take it. Thin ass grilled cheese with, probably had that kind of cheesy spread as opposed to
yeah.
Anyway,
it's not cheese; it's a substance. We don't want to know what it is. Yeah,
that's right. They squeeze it out of something. But Sophie's, I'm thinking that as much as all that's going on right now, she's at the bottom run.
Really?
Yeah, I really do think so. And then Nate's in the middle.
I got to ask you first, though. So wait, do you mean on the bottom of that alliance or on the bottom total of this 11?
The bottom of the alliance.
Okay. So
there's always going to be a bottom. Like there's always going to be a bottom. I know that. It was weird, and I said this before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it multiple times. As long as I want to keep talking about Survivor, I'll bring back to my experience. You see the Reba 4, and you had 3 people fighting for the bottom for the 5th place of Reba 4.
Mm-hmm.
Be the 5th person. It didn't make any sense, and I don't necessarily think that she's fighting to be there. I think they're putting her there, and it's not like they're looking at her saying, she came off a tribe that was just constantly losing. She's not really proving herself, and so we're just going to have it for numbers. I don't think that they're openly saying that, but I think that is kind of the case because you have other people when you have this itis of winning. Or the itis of not going to tribal council and not being perceived as not being effective in the game. When you don't have that, you look at others and you find the ones that do have that. So it's like, okay, so how are we gonna keep that person at bay? Keep them nice and close until it's time to cut them. And I think that's gonna happen.
And I think she's probably the most dangerous person left in the game because her story is ridiculous. She's one tribal council away from Denise, right? Of just being able to sit at final tribal and say, I went to every tribal council.
Yeah.
Even if you play a great post-merge, her story is so good. And I know Alex had that story early on, but he's now missed 3 tribal councils. Alex hasn't been a tribal council in a minute. He's been taken off. He's on vacation. And so it is a different story. He's gone into the Malcolm role now. I think Alex's winner potential has dropped significantly because Sophie has built bonds with people in a legitimate way of voting with them to get somebody out. Alex has built bonds with people by saying, hey, I'm just happy to be here. I love you guys. This is awesome. This is great. But now the only person that Alex has actually gone to a tribal council with who's still in the game is Sophie. That's it. Yep. That's the only one he's been able to prove himself with thus far. So I do agree with you. Sophie's on the bottom of that alliance because I just think Savannah, Rizzo, and Nate would be silly to try to let her get to final 3. I think she wins.
And in knowing that, that's why I'm saying that she's probably going to be, she's at the bottom run and she's going to be X'd out. Like that's just my thought. That's my thought. But to go to Alex, what you were saying about Alex, yes, he's not helped vote to get someone off, which is it is a crappy, feeling. Like you're taking away someone's ability, but giving yourself a boost as well. But you still you play the yin and yang of it all. But he's helping them to not go there.
Yeah.
So that holds weight as well. So if had I made it to my to the final three, my story would have been my story. I would have done all that. But then I would have been able to go back to, okay, Bello, let's keep something in mind. Think about the preparation, the effort, and all this other stuff that we did together to be able to move forward and never go to tribal council, and the things that we needed to do. And how did that really happen, Kendra? Do you remember, when we sat there and I'm sorry, it wasn't Kendra. It was the name did not be named. When we went there and we, there was a question of what, who wants to do this? Oh, I can't do that. And it was like, yo, let's focus on the better things to keep that positive momentum going. And then going into all sorts of other different situations and scenarios. And like, remember when this was done, and then, the strategy aspect of it. Remember this, and this. So having that conversation. So that's something that now Alex can look at and say, okay, like I helped us with this. And then we strategized with that. And then this came to fruition because remember, if I wasn't helping with this, that never would have taken place. So he's on a different spectrum of it. She's on the side of like, again, yin and yang, the dark side where, someone's getting voted out and you're constantly losing. And he's on the other side, the white side, to be able to say, okay, we're not losing. We're keeping happy. We're sticking, in the sunshine of it all. But this is what we're doing to get to that point. Yeah. So that's where I think that they're both in a situation. It's just different sides of the spectrum.
Do you think they get back together here?
Yes, I do. Okay. Yes, I do. I think they get back together because I don't think I've ever heard her say anything about he annoys her, and I don't think I've ever heard him say anything about she's dead weight, or she annoys him. So I think that they do get back together, and then they might, if they get back together and they each have one ride or die, and then those ride or dies have one, it's a disgusting mess for everybody else.
Yeah.
And that would be the optimal way to be able to do it. Like keep that strong. Like, when Brando and Kendra went over and they, we did our tribe swap and they were on, I can't remember where they went. They went to
with Drew.
New Bello, yeah. When they did that, it was like, yo, I remember saying to Kendra, like, and that was take care of Brando. Because I had a feeling that he would have been on the chopping block, and sure enough, he's gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? There's a lot of strategy that happens in both sides of it. It's just basically you think it all through. You have nothing else but time to be able to think things through, and hopefully those two can get something going where they can change the shift of power when they get back together again.
And so I'd cut you off when you were talking about Nate. You were about to say Nate you find in the middle. Do you think Nate, Savannah, Rizgod is the alliance to look at though moving forward? Sophie's at the bottom rung. Is that a trio out of all of the groups that are out there? That's like the one trio you don't think can be broken up and they're just going to play together whether they go down or they go to the top?
I to be honest, I have a hard time reading Savannah at this point.
Okay.
I know that she's the edited show. Very nice person in person. But you see the compliments from Rizzo to Nate. You kind of see those two a little bit earlier on, like they were buddy. In Savannah more towards Rizzo, but you didn't really get the personal side of her as of yet. Like that you can actually see on the show. So I don't know how she would gravitate towards Nate. Can you remind me who Nate did that challenge with yesterday? So that was with Sophie. Okay. So that was interesting. That was very interesting. So do we have a Rizzo, Nate, and then Sophie? Mm-hmm. Because the way that he was talking to Sophie is just how I would talk to my daughter. If we're doing something like, yo, good work. Let's go. Keep going. Yep. Awesome. Good work. Yes. Little side hug. Good job. Let's go. Keep going. And then, like just kind of that. I've not seen that with him and Savannah, even though they've been in the same tribe and they've been together for as long as they have.
Yeah.
So
Savannah feels like a gamer, right? Like at least the edit we have seen from her she is a gamer. She is there to play the game. She's done enough to build relationships to create the power structure. But I don't actually know how anybody feels about Savannah at this point in the game. I know how people feel about Jawan. I know how people feel about Sophie Bellardi. I know how people feel about Christina even.
Mm-hmm.
Has Rizzo said, Savannah's doing this, that, whatever, I don't know if I like that or I love it? Has Nate said that? Has Jawan, like, people haven't said that yet. And that's where I do feel a lot of people are looking at Savannah as potentially the winner of this season. I watch the edit really strong, and I'm trying, like, I love Savannah. I really do. I think she's great TV.
Yep.
As I'm watching this, I feel like I'm trying to be a little bit more negative on her because so many people are, I think, are just kind of looking into 50, 50, 50. And that's what their reasoning is a lot of times with Savannah. But even if I wasn't trying to be a little bit extra negative here, her edit has been not a winning edit right now. It has not been what you generally see from winners on Survivor. I know she's eating up a lot of screen time despite only going to 2 tribal councils, but there is very little personal information coming from her. We know that Nate has kids. We know RIZGOD, the man with the legend baby, has his family situation in New York. I know that makes you so happy, Bruce. I know it does. We know about Sage. We know about Steven, even though I think the Steven stuff was nonsense of what if people don't like me in episode 1. I don't know why we got that back then. I think we could have left without that. Savannah, we don't have that.
Yeah. Savannah is an alpha. She's straight
which
up
I
alpha.
like.
But yeah, and that is a good thing. It's a very good thing. A strong woman on the show is a good thing.
We need strong men on this show still, Bruce. We're still not getting a lot of those on the show.
The other thing, so let me just skirt over to that comment. The reason why we don't have strong men is because masculinity has just been attacked, and now it's not good any longer. So now you're not going to get those. Like, we actually had a little bit with Jake. And there was fire from people. And I'm just like, yo, let him cook, leave him alone. And people are just like, they just want to try and find something wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Men are allowed to be men. Let us be men, but respectfully be men. Like, I understand toxic masculinity. I do know what that is. But there is a difference between that and just straight masculinity, So if anybody wants to have a comment on that, please send me a direct message. I'll have fun with you. But you look at this game, and this game is structured to be that way. It shouldn't. And going back to what we talked about earlier, it shouldn't be cookie cutter. It shouldn't be. We need these kind of personalities. We need these kind of people, and then put them in a box. Because what's going to end up happening is, I'm sitting down in front of everyone. Hey guys, what's going on? Blah blah blah. I'm going to give you every word you want to hear. You're going to get me out there. You're going to take food away from me. You're going to, I'm going to be hot, bugs, like all that other stuff, sunburnt, blah, blah, blah. And someone's going to say something, and I'm going to rip your freaking head off.
Yeah.
And you're going to have the nicest person in the world that will rip your head off and then be like, oh, man, I just shot myself in the foot. But you're going to have 3 other people that are like, yo, about time somebody said it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this game, and that's also the curse of this game, because you have to have that. And sometimes, season 48, sometimes you don't get the edit to show that. It's just, you don't get the edit to show it, and it's kind of a blemish, if you will. They need to get the editors to be able to say, okay, what does real life look like out there with strategy and with a little bit of tenderness, just kind of keep people human. But as far as for Savannah, like, I think we'll get that something. I got ragged on for 6 weeks until they gave me a heartfelt thing or whatever, and they left me alone for 2, and then they destroyed me again for another, I believe, 2 more. So if my math is right.
Well, that's what we lived for. I like, Bruce, I like that you counted it out. You're like, I know exactly when I got my finally good episode. I remember what it was like.
Yeah, my friends were like, yo, about time. Like, why is she leaving you alone? Like, what the hell are they doing? I'm like, I don't know. Like, it was fun for week 1 and 2. Week 3, I'm starting to question my existence. And then week 4, I'm like, oh. So, anyway, that's my
story. No, I get it. And look, I say that all the time. I keep saying I felt like David from last season was such a great casting choice because he didn't really understand the game, but they still kind of made him, even though he was this big, muscular Gaston-looking guy who had a Gaston personality too. There was definitely some ego You know, I'm going to beat you down. I'm going to beat you. I'm better than you at this stuff. I need to be loved. But then it turns into, I just really hope that my girlfriend loves me. I hope that she'll take me back because she's a princess. I need to treat her that way. And I'm like, okay, there's a masculinity to that, but you're taking away what this guy is actually supposed to be on the show for. And that's where when I looked at Steven's edit so far, I've really enjoyed Steven. Really enjoyed him. I think he has a good pulse on the game. I think he has a good feel for everything. But that first episode when they had the what if people just don't like me part, why do we need that about Steven? Just let Steven be that guy. Like him doing the chicken with Alex and Alex and Steven going to do that's what I'm looking for. And I think that's a part of the show that has just been missing in so many ways of I know that on a lot of seasons, people would say we're not killing the chickens. We're not allowed. There's all of us don't want to do it. We wouldn't know what to do anyway. Alex and Steven just said, screw it. We're stepping up. We're going to do it. And I think that that's a fun, these are providers. I wouldn't expect those guys to be providers, but I love that they just did that. And I love that they took the initiative to do that. So why do I have that? Like Steven's worried people aren't going to like him. I don't, that has not been relevant to anything that has happened on this season. So
yeah. And, you know, I've sat there and I've looked at, you know, my emotions that I showed on the show. My emotions. There were 3 times that I showed emotions. Once when I talked to Kelly, and they remember we talked about like you know kind of soften people up. I talked to Kelly about my mother passing away. My mother passed away a month before I flew out. Okay, I was still dealing with that. So I talked to Kelly about it because she was my ride or die. Like that's how I felt. You know, never did I ever put her in harm's way, but I was always like, you know, whatever you want to do, blah, blah, blah. That was 1. 2, when I went back to Lulu Beach, there was no getting around it. That was emotion that started when the boat started coming up and I got a glimpse of the shoreline. I was like, oh, where am I? All right, damn it. So there you go. That's expected. Number 3 was when Kelly was voted out, I showed emotion in that confessional. But that's only 3 instances of probably 75 times that I was sitting out on that beach by myself emotional.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to do that. You're definitely allowed to do that. My stuff was it had something to do with the storyline of what I was going through. Okay. Us knowing that Steven, you know, because of his hearing aids, you know, no one's gonna like me. Well, I'm sorry, Steven. There are people that were in your sphere of life. They're just a bunch of assholes that hopefully they're not around you anymore. Because so what? You have hearing aids. Like I would have looked and said, yo, you got hearing aids, bro? Yeah, I would definitely, you know, since blah, blah, blah. Oh, all right, cool. So let's go get something to eat. Those are the people you want to surround yourself with. Okay. When we're going to sit there and we're going to talk about Jake and David from last season, he's talking about his girlfriend, this, that, and the other. He's having emotions that just perk up, like stuff comes up. And then producers, they do their job. Yeah, we saw you getting a little emotional. Like, what's up?
Here's my thing though. I get that. It's just what they choose to show sometimes. They need to understand who their characters are. You're not going to give Hannibal Lecter some heartfelt moment. You're just not going to do it. And I'm not saying that these people are Hannibal Lecter, but it's good writing. It's good storytelling 101. It's who are your heroes? Who are your villains? Who are your top dogs? Who are your underdogs? You think about back in the 30s, David Wright is writing for Family Guy. Okay. I don't know if you've met David Wright. I've had the privilege of meeting David Wright numerous times. He's amazing, right? He's this guy. You sit down with him and he plays the, self-deprecation, this, self-deprecation, that. And at the same time, you're sitting there going, you are a smart dude. You know exactly what you're doing. You know how to get people to like you. You know how to have conversations with people. Everything's great for that guy. But they knew that they had to make him an underdog. You can't focus too much on the Family Guy stuff because he needs to be an underdog. He needs to be the guy that gets kicked a little. Somebody like Cochran comes back and plays Caramoan and wins, 4 individual immunity challenges, something like that. That's a guy, though, they knew needed to be the underdog on his first season. You got to figure out what you got to tell about each. And I think for you, it made sense, right? This guy, first player we have returning next season, he sees the beach. He's going to get emotional over that. That makes so much sense. But they're choosing to kind of make everyone the same, even if their archetype is not the same at all. We don't need that. And I actually think one of the people they did the best job with of that was Say. Say was just Say the entire season.
Yeah.
Whether you loved her or hated her, she was just Say. Yeah,
there's no, my thing would say is that during the show, like during the taping, the show that's being showed to us, the edited version, that was 100% her, and you either loved her or hated her.
Yeah.
There was no in between, and, and I will say they both. I loved her and I hated her. Like there's no need for half the crap that came out of her mouth. What makes me annoyed with her is what happened after the season was over. Like that trolling that she was doing. There's no need for that. Like, come on, just leave that be.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't cookie cutter everybody. You can't put them in a box and think that, you're going to get this miraculous thing that's going to happen. No, you're going to get these people. You're going to get all different walks of life. They're going to show up and they're going to do one thing. They're going to revert back to their animal instinct on who they are. Mm-hmm. And they're going to give you the nice CDs while you're sitting in a nice air-conditioned room. You just had a full belly and you're being interviewed by 15 people. And this and you're doing your psyche valve, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, you are now a completely different person. We're not casting villains. Everybody's got a villain in this story.
Yeah. I could say a lot of mean stuff if I really wanted to. I say a lot of mean stuff all the time. I just, say it with a smile on my face. It's not about what you say. It's how you say it, right, Bruce?
It's always in my mind. Like,
yeah, exactly. Ooh. Exactly. So I know you're running a couple minutes here. So I just want to ask you about the other two people here, Juwan and Sage. What's the fallout from this vote? Is there one? Can either of them get back in? Are they going to have to go a different route? What do you think?
Juwan and Sage better talk and have a conversation, come with the same damn idea.
And Steven better be involved in that too.
What's that?
And Steven better be involved in that too, because he can't go telling lies that, or pointing out that Juwan and Sage are lying.
Yeah. And it's, if Sage would have been like rolling her eyes and talking about all this other stuff in regards to what she was irritated about to other people, that might hold water. Mm-hmm. If Sage never said anything, because, from I think she might have had one conversation about the holiness or whatever. Yeah. But if it was only one conversation, she's got to dig out of the hole. Mm-hmm. If they come up with something, they say, she was throwing this one's name on the bus, which is Juwan, and she was doing that, and then you stick to that and you bring that back to everybody and be like, oh, we really wanted to get Steven out, but she wanted to go after Juwan. She made it abundantly clear that's where her vote was going, and that's who she voted for. Mm-hmm. So now you can bring that back to them, and the hot water's not so hot; it's lukewarm. Now you're getting side eye by people. Yeah, people are you're gonna be in their thoughts like, yo, all right, you said that, but I'm still gonna keep you close.
Well, and I like that because there really is no lie here. Shannon voted for Juwan. That's who the vote was for. So if Savannah's mad that one of her closest allies from early in the game is gone and Juwan's still here and she feels betrayed by Juwan goes home in the situation. I don't know about you, but I don't really care about Savannah's feelings if it's between me and somebody else. I don't care at all. And Juwan was actually caring about her feelings, which is the craziest part of the whole thing. Yeah. So that helps with the not necessarily lie, but reasoning, because you have Steven who he's not going to say, oh, well, Shannon voted for me and everybody else voted for Shannon. That's not what happened. And I do think that we're going to see a serious head-to-head what's going to happen with these idols. Because now we have Sophie with knowledge is power. We have MC, who she will get her idol or be able to find her idol after the next immunity challenge. And we have Riz God. I know you wanted to hear it. Riz God. Riz God has his idol. So we're going to have two idols at least. Who knows if they're going to hide another, plus the knowledge is power. Sophie knows that Riz God has that. What's going to happen now with all 11 of these people? I think you're going to see a surprise 7-4-6-5 at this first vote that you weren't necessarily expecting, but that's not going to necessarily dictate everything that happens from there on, because there is going to be a lot of movement, because there's a lot of advantages. And like I said earlier, a lot of people have played with each other. So I think Sage and Juwan might be in trouble here, but they still have so many avenues. They don't need to go back to Uli with their tails between their legs, begging for forgiveness. They can say, screw you guys. You don't want to work with us? Don't work with us.
Yeah. Yeah. And be straight up with it though.
Yeah.
Here's what happened. Do you believe me? Yes. Okay. We moving forward? Yes. Fine. You believe me? No? All right.
Mm-hmm. And Juwan's going to ask Savannah, he's going to say, you believe me? And she's going to say, yeah. And then he's going to walk away with her bag over his shoulder. And that's going to be the end of that.
And speaking of that, Juwan was thinking about Savannah's feelings.
Yeah.
All right. He has no idea how she feels.
Yeah.
I was the same exact way with those whose name we would not say. Because the fact of the matter is, you don't know. You don't know that there's this much shit being said about you. You don't know that you rub somebody wrong, because no one's going to say it to you. Because the simple fact is that you're trying to win $1 million and you don't want to. as much as Phil, I want to rip your head off and I want to scream at you because you're being just a complete ass. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to allow you to do that because other people can hopefully see it and be annoyed by it as well. And then maybe they'll come to me. But if they don't, I got to try and find a way to get you out.
And another thing going against Savannah's edit here is every time somebody brings up Jawan, they're saying something nice about Jawan. Rizzo said something nice about Jawan. Obviously, Steven had the moment this episode. People like Jawan. And again, I still think Savannah, maybe from a strategic standpoint and from a confessional standpoint, is killing it. I just think that people are looking too much into her as a definite winner. Like people are acting, 70% Edgic. It's like, no, Sophie Bellardi's getting the Edgic edit right now. That doesn't mean she's going to win, but that's who's getting the edit right now, in my opinion. I kind of feel for Jawan. Jawan's getting a little bit of a dunce edit, but he's not doing anything. He's made mistakes, but he's always thinking and he's had the best interest of, he's playing a good game. That's what people are missing here, I think. Jawan is actually playing a good game. Rigging the rocks was smart. Doing what he did last episode was smart. Making the relationships with the people he has. Trying to make a relationship with Matt. Trying to make a relationship with Jason. Ultimately, it didn't work out because they were gone. But now making the relationship with Steven. Making the relationship with Sage. There's avenues here. He's playing a good game. But the star of the season so far is telling us he's not. And the internet is falling for that big time. And I'm not saying that he's not annoying. Look, Jawan could be very annoying to be around. I don't know. Like you said, you were annoying. Everybody was annoying. That's what happens on Survivor. But I do think that people are overlooking the fact that he isn't playing as bad of a game as some people are thinking he is.
I fully agree with you. I fully agree. He's done some very good gameplay things so far. And because one person's saying something, everybody's thinking like, oh, okay. So the bad things always travel faster than the good things. Yeah. That's it. No matter what it is you do. Do 1,000 good things, do one bad thing, that bad thing's going to follow you forever. So he just happened to do, in someone's eyes, 2 bad things.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. He made the same mistake twice. That's really what the problem is, right?
That is correct.
Don't make the same mistake twice, and he did. So before I let you go then, normally I do this only on Prediction Power Rankings, but I'm going to ask you anyway, since we talked so much about what's going to happen in the post-merge and everything. Who do you think is going to
win? I said it the other day. I would love to see Nate win. I really would, because I think he's playing a good game. I really do think, like, as much as they said his name yesterday, I think that was just some little edit trick. But aside from that, like Rizzo's not going to win. Jawan, no. Alex could win. He could. I think he's playing like this, like I said before, like, yes, he was going through all the BS at the beginning, losing, and now he's, not losing, and he's kind of able to get in and do his thing, and his demeanor is very, very soft, if you will. I'm not saying he's soft. I'm saying his demeanor towards people is soft, and I think that's disarming for people, which is a good thing, and I picked up on that. Even my wife picked up on it last night when we were talking about it. So. MC, I don't think so. She's going to be too much of a threat at some point in time. Sophie S potentially has a little bit of a side.
Who she is, man.
You don't know. Yeah, you don't know who she is. You don't know who Savannah is. And that's fine. Do we know who Erica was?
No, but Savannah leads the season in confessionals. Sophie, the only person with fewer than her at this point in New Era Survivor, is Heather from 41.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And Heather was on a 60-minute season.
Wow.
That's how bad Sophie's is right now. Thank you, Rob, fact checker, for that. Appreciate it. Rob.
No, I listen, let's keep an eye out for her. Keep an eye out for her. What is she? She's a strategy associate.
Hey, she could still go deep. I'm not disagreeing. I just don't think she can win, but she could still go deep, and she could honestly make some moves that people say. Hey, remember, Natalie Bolton, I think, had 2 confessionals or something like that through like the first 14 episodes, and then all of a sudden just blew up and was, I'm going to floss with their jugular. And people have been wanting her back on the show since.
Yeah,
so could happen.
It's funny. It's funny the things that, like, if you said floss with someone's jugular nowadays, it'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, and you want that. Oh God, everybody wants it. You were saying earlier, you want that aggravation factor to turn into something that's like, because I know that my confessional, I shit talked everybody, everybody, and it was on stuff that they did, but that was my time to do it when I got back to camp. It was like I didn't, it kind of is what it is. But give me more of the back and forth. Give me more of the the tribal unbalance. And I like because I love it. Everybody loves it because nobody. I don't want a kumbaya. Second half of the season. No, not at all.
Agreed. No, give me a good post merge and a bad pre merge every time. Yeah. Every time. If that's what it's got to be, I will take a bad pre merge for a good post merge because I know I can get excited to watch it and I know it's going to get better.
Yeah.
48 had the opposite. That's rough. You don't want that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Every season matters. We're doing Philippines coming up. We got through One World, so that's always good. So go ahead and check out patreon.com/thespecialist if you want to tune into any of the coverage we have going on over there. We're doing stuff almost daily at this point. So if you are interested, go check that out. Tonight, John and McKenna are doing Survivor Rewind, and I know McKenna is also doing the Amazing Race recap. So those are both coming out tonight. On Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, I got Cassidy Clark from Survivor 43. So that'll be fun. Predictions and power rankings. And then Tag With on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time is going to be live with Star from last season. And they're going to be doing Matt Chat. So that's going to be super exciting. And then we got a recap next Wednesday. So plenty of stuff coming over here. Bruce, you got anything you want to plug before I get out of here?
Am I allowed to plug mine?
Go ahead. Ollie did it 7,000 times for me on mine.
Well, so listen, I'm on Survivor Now podcast. We have a lot of fun. There are so many different varieties of our show that we do. And I love that we have this cross because we have the ability, because you came on Survivor Now and have great conversations with us. And, this community is a beautiful community. Like we have people that are going to be able to watch us. So we would love for our people to come watch you and your people to come watch us and just kind of help us grow and keep this content going. Just keep it rolling.
That's the best part, right? There's no such thing as too many Survivor podcasts. Just go listen. Just don't listen to the people who are nasty all the time for no reason. Those are the people you don't listen to.
The people that are going to make you think. They're going to make you think and have a good idea. Like, oh, that's okay. And a little pushback, but when they're just being just stupid, there are a couple of them that I was like, yo, I will never listen to them again. And I ain't gonna name any names, but there's some bad ones out there.
Bruce has 4 minutes and I got to go get those names for the next 4 minutes. So we got to log off now before, so I have time to get all the names. Like the video again, subscribe to the channel. Bruce, always a pleasure. See you all next time.